Welcome to The Question, a Blog Talk Radio conversation on Tuesdays with Doug Pagitt and Tony Jones talking about religion. And we're in our final 5 minutes here of the show. There are people in the chat room who have a lot going on over at blogtalkradio.com/Doug Pagitt in the chat room. So if you'd like to join in on any of that, we'd be glad to have you. Here's how it rolls, Tony. People say. Here's one comment. I went through the ordination process in the United Methodist Church. It was one of the most cumbersome, top-down, discouraging experiences of my life. I got to the end and wrote a letter to the bishop withdrawing my ordination. Friends in other denominations have all done the same.
Wow.
So it's again, and I know, look, it's easy. There's, I don't know how many ordained clergy there are in the Methodist Church or in any of these denominations, but there's tens of thousands of them who would all say, that wasn't my experience. Don't get these wackos that have time to listen to Blog Talk Radio conversations during the day. Obviously, and they'll minimize them and write them off, but because nobody really keeps track of the disenfranchised and those who feel wounded and hurt, and that's probably a big part of it, huh?
Yeah, right. And here's my thing. Like, I get that for me to post an online petition to ordain Adam is a gimmick. Like, yeah, it's exactly what it was a gimmick. But it was a gimmick in an effort to point something out. And a couple things. I mean, one is that, as you and I have said many times, things have changed so dramatically in how we operate in the world.
Right.
And the church has had such a hard time changing with that.
Yeah.
That, like, this is why, like, let's look at it historically for those people who think I'm bad at history. I mean, one of the things the Catholic Church struggled with that Luther embraced was movable type.
Yeah.
And so he started printing, he printed his first pamphlets. Everything was written in Latin. And one of his first pamphlets was called To the German Nobility.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, to the princes of Germany, here's why I'm here's why I'm trying to reform the church and think we should rethink this whole thing. But he wrote it in German. So he was obviously writing it so that the masses could read it, and he was trying to start some kind of revolution. Now, the debate will go on as to whether he was trying to have a revolution from within or whether he was really happy to be severed from the Catholic Church. But he embraced it. The Catholic Church recoiled from it and said, we're not going to start printing stuff in German and Italian and French. We're going to print everything in Latin because it's for the elite people to be able to read and make these decisions because other people aren't capable of making these decisions. Mm-hmm. And then when Luther translated the Bible into German, like, that was the final insult.
Right.
To put the Bible in people's hands. And this is just,
90
to me,
seconds.
this is what, I don't know how we're going to figure out what it means to be a Christian leader or where power lies and how we're going to disperse, the sacerdotal functions of the church.
Yeah.
But it's going to change.
Yeah, but and what I think you're suggesting, and this is where you would fall into the longer stream of the reformers, is that in the same way that Protestants said, we don't know how this is all gonna track out, but we know that we're no longer going to have a functional priesthood.
60 seconds.
We're not going to have a functional priesthood. That what you're saying is, well, we don't know what the future is going to look like. We know that we're not going to have a functional ordained clergy class. Now, that may take 100 years or 200 years, and we don't know what it is, but we know what it's not yet, and that's not minimal. That's a big deal. It was a big deal for Protestants to say, we're not going to structure around a priesthood, but we're going to structure around what they thought was the next best attempt, which is to have a clergy class, that now we're moving on without it.
And in Geneva, John Calvin tried a theocracy.
Yeah, right.
Where he was basically the chief pastor and the governor of the city. Well, I don't think a lot of Presbyterians said that what he came up with was the right way.
10 seconds.
Like, okay, we're going to break from the papacy. Let's have a theocracy run by theologians.
That's right. Hey, that's what we do around. We got to cut you off there. That's what we do around here on Blog Talk Radio. Conversation called The Question.
All right.
We talk about the things going on, and we can only go till 11 o'clock because that's what we signed up for. Hey, this is a Blog Talk Radio conversation called The Question, which is currently broadcasting weekdays and will soon be moving to a summer schedule. We'll keep you all up on that. Thanks all. Thanks for being part of it, and we'll see you all tomorrow.